It's really good to see you today, Munira Wilson, our Twickenham MP, in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic and with EU transition just days away. As the business voice across the borough, we greatly appreciate your time today, whereby together we explore what's happening on the ground, as well as business policy and support, covering businesses of all types and scale, as well as the self-employed and, of course, the unemployed. So a lot of ground to cover and such limited time.
Hi Anne, thank you. It's a pleasure to talk to you today.
So starting with the excluded and quoting the fiscal studies, 18% of those self-employed with income under 50% not being eligible for some of these, for the support, and any other sectors not receiving grants, for example, and needing help. I know this is of great concern to you, as many in Twickenham have been in touch with both of us. So please could you...
Since the start of the pandemic, and to give government credit and their due, they rolled out various support schemes to help employees and the self-employed very quickly to ensure that people could keep going and do the right thing and stay at home instead of being out at work and running their businesses. However, it became very clear very quickly that there were significant groups of people left out, and that was understandable at the start when these schemes had to be rolled out at great speed, very urgently, with little time to look at all those really complex cases. However, 9-10 months on, and given that we've just heard that furlough, for instance, is now being extended till the end of April, the fact that there is still, it's estimated, about 3 million people across the UK who have been excluded from all financial support, I think is unacceptable. And we know that there are many people here in the constituency of Twickenham who are affected, because as you've alluded to, it's largely self-employed or directors of small limited companies, often based from home, who were ineligible for business grants because most of those were contingent on having a premises that had a rateable value, for instance, or the self-employed who either newly set up or they have a mixture of PAYE income last year as well as self-employment income, particularly freelancers in our creative sector, which here in Twickenham particularly, and indeed across London, thriving sector, so many involved in those sorts of industries. And I know from the Federation of Small Businesses, they told me earlier this year that there's about 11,000 self-employed just in the Twickenham constituency. We're not talking about borough-wide. And so whilst I don't know what the proportion is of those who've been excluded in the area, there have been many because they've been in touch with me. And I have been banging the drums since day one with letters to the Chancellor, questions to the Chancellor. I'm very active in the all-party group on gaps in support. And just last week, I secured and led a debate in Parliament on this issue.
Yes.
And for the first time, the Minister finally actually said he would look at some of the solutions, because we're not just shouting about the problem. The groups that are impacted and the Federation of Small Businesses and various other professional bodies and association and accountancy bodies have worked together with MPs to come up with solutions that have been put forward. And we're saying you really need to help these people out. They're suffering mental health issues, they're getting into huge amounts of debt, it's resulting in relationship breakup. And at the end of the day, from a business point of view, and I think this is the point I really try to stress with the Minister, this is about making sure the lifeblood of our economy is not killed off at this difficult time. These businesses and self-employed individuals, there are entrepreneurs who are going to help revive our economy, and they're absolutely crucial to the recovery. So allowing their businesses to go to the wall, allowing their skills to go down the tubes is not a wise investment. So some urgent support to help keep them going, so that they can help turbocharge the recovery. So a lot of the business grants that are funneled through to the council to administer, and one of the things that MPs have been asking for is, could some of those discretionary grants include small limited companies that are based from home? But at the moment, the criteria by which the council can administer those grants are so tightly drawn that their hands are tied and they can't give those grants out. So that's one of the solutions that we have pressed for, is where there is surplus funding, could those be given to some of those small companies?
And we're very lucky that the Richmond Council have been so efficient thus far with these grants that
Yes.
they have been giving out. So.
I know from talking to councillors and officers that the officers are overrun and extremely busy, as you can
Long
imagine,
hours.
because it means so many different schemes. Plus, we've been there've been schemes for national lockdowns, there've been schemes for tier 2, which we were in briefly, and schemes for tier 3. So all of that adds a lot of complexity.
Absolutely.
So I know that some businesses have been frustrated at times when they perhaps haven't heard from them as quickly as possible. But I know officers are working extremely hard.
And actually, on balance, they are seen to be an efficient council when you look at them next to other councils across London. So well done, Richmond Council, on that front.